When I first moved to San Francisco in the mid-90s, two catchphrases that I'd hear locals say was "keep San Francisco weird," which I understood, but the other phrase, "only in Marin," I didn't quite get. This Marin ride has everything including Druids, San Quentin, and points of interest related to the life and death of Allan Watts, who was a famous counterculture guru who has influenced many icons of both today and the past.
I like to rest my heavy head tonight on a bed of California stars. I like to lay my weary bones tonight on a bed of California stars. I love to feel your hand touching mine and tell me why I must keep working on. Yes, I'll give my life to lay my head tonight on a bed of California stars. I'd like to dream my troubles all away on a bed, California stars. Jump up on my star bed, making up the day underneath my California stars. They hang like grapes on vines that shine and warm lovers' glass like friendly wine. So I'd give this world just to dream a dream with you on our bed, California stars. I like to rest my heavy head tonight on a bed of California stars. I like to lay my weary bones tonight on a bed of California stars. I love to feel your hand touching mine and tell me why I must keep working on. Yes, I'd give my life to lay my head tonight on a bed of California stars. I like to dream my troubles all away on a bed of California stars. Jump up on my star bed, making up the day underneath my California stars. They hang like grapes on vines that shine and warm a lover's glass like friendly wine. So I give this world just to dream a dream with you on our bed, California stars.
This is my last long training ride before I head to Ireland for the Céad Míle Fáilte 1200k. This route goes around Marin counterclockwise and includes a small amount of off-road. Allan Watts was this fascinating character who was among the first to bring Eastern philosophies to Western audiences. People like Kerouac, Ginsberg, and Tim Leary all cite him as a major influence. More recently, the creators of South Park and the actor Jeff Bridges have talked about how his ideas have shaped their worldview. Van Morrison even has a song called The Allan Watts Blues. Watts died in Marin in 1973 at the age of 58. Originally from England, he moved to the Bay Area in 1951. Initially an academic at the American Academy of Asian Studies, he taught Zen Buddhism and Taoism. He also had a popular weekly radio show broadcast from Berkeley, where he gained a large following for his interpretation of Eastern thought. Our first stop is the SS Vallejo at Waldo Point, where Watts lived and worked. The ship became a legendary counterculture salon and is where he hosted many of the icons of the day. It's also the site of the famous 1967 Houseboat Summit, a gathering of luminaries that included Watts, Ginsberg, Timothy Leary, and Gary Snyder. The meeting was held just weeks after the massive human be-in Golden Gate Park and was instrumental in shaping the summer of love that occurred later that year in San Francisco. Before the houseboat and before he retreated to the wilderness of Druid Heights, which we'll visit later, Watts lived here in Mill Valley for 7 years. Here his life was a little bit more traditional. However, it is where he wrote some of his most famous books, including The Way of Zen. Our next stop is a detour to San Quentin, which is California's oldest prison, dating back to 1852. It also houses California's only death row. I plan on doing a video one day here. So much history, including Charles Manson, Johnny Cash's legendary 1969 concert, and the 1947 Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall film noir Dark Passage. Last time I visited with my kids almost 10 years ago. Bizarrely, back then they had a gift shop here at the prison gates where you could buy art from the prisoners on death row. There's also a museum inside the walls that I hope to visit one day. Our next point of interest, Muir Beach, is 60 miles away. Watts passed away in his sleep at the young age of 58, just up the mountain from here at Druid Heights. Despite his guru-like public image, he struggled with a number of personal demons, including alcoholism and depression. Within 2.5 hours of his death, he was cremated on an open-air wooden pyre here on Muir Beach. The Zen funeral rites were conducted by Buddhist monks from the nearby Zen center. There's always been a certain amount of speculation about his death and the haste in which he was cremated. However, it's likely that Watts himself did not want any kind of traditional Western funeral or mourning period. His ashes were spread in 2 places. The first was here at the Green Gulch Zen Center, which is right beside Muir Beach. The center opened in 1972 as a rural retreat and organic farm. Watts was a frequent visitor here for the last year of his life. Before I visit the remote Bohemian mountainside refuge where he spent the last few years of his life, I stop at the Pelican Inn for a quick beer. This is a gem that would not be out of place in Devon, England. Dating back to the 70s, it's always fun to hang out here on the grass drinking in the sunshine. This is definitely not one of those days. If anything, it almost feels like it's going to rain. Another fun fact is that I got engaged to my wife here 27 years ago. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
That was in Santa Cruz. Yeah.
The wonderfully mysterious Druid Heights was formed in 1956 by the famous feminist poet and essayist Elsa Gidlow. She named it after Ella Young, an Irish revolutionary and poet who is widely considered in Bohemian circles to be a modern-day Druid, and also after Emily Bronte's novel Wuthering Heights, which reminded Gidlow of the windswept and isolated nature of this off-the-grid settlement. The community hosted a number of well-known icons from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It survived through a number of important eras in California, including the Beats, the hippies, and the feminist movement. By the late 70s, however, the land and structures were acquired by the Park Service. Today, it is a forgotten ghost town, slowly reverting back to nature. Watts was an on and off visitor for much of the 60s. He eventually moved here full-time in the late 60s, living in a lotus flower-shaped cabin called the Mandala House. The other half of his ashes were buried near this building, which was his personal library at Druid Heights. It's here where Watts spent his final years writing and studying. Thanks for watching. Join me for upcoming rides by becoming a member of the BikeEveryHood Strava Club. Please like and subscribe.